This edition of MacVoices is brought to you by SaneBox, the best way to take control of your out-of-control email. For a free trial and a $10 credit, visit sanebox.com/MacVoices. And by Take Control Books, the answers you need now from leading experts. Learn more and download yours at takecontrolbooks.com. Welcome back to MacVoices. This is the Talk of the Mac community. I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, we get to do what is turning into an annual visit with Rob Elkin. He is the organizer, or one of the organizers. I will let him tell you exactly who all is participating this year in the AltWWDC conference that runs in parallel with Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference in San Francisco. Rob, it's great to see you.
It's great to be back.
Yeah, and I'm really excited because AltWWDC lives on and, in fact, seems to be picking up momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, it's AltConf now. I feel like I'm going to have to correct everybody during the week, but we changed the name, just tweaked it slightly. So we're AltConf.
Okay.
It's going to be a pretty fantastic week. Well, like you said, I'm only one of the organizers. There's just a massive team of people that are helping out with this year, and you just would not believe we've got so many things going on that it's just very difficult for me to keep up with everything that's happening. And so there's so many people that are helping out in so many different ways. It's brilliant.
So, Rob, let's talk about this. Last year, and I'll get the names right this time, AltWWDC was at the University of San Francisco, which was right around the corner from Moscone, and it's like, you guys can't get any closer. It was a great event. You had speakers, you had labs, you had a sense of community that built from the first hour that we were all there. Now AltConf gets even closer, and it sounds like it's going to offer even more. Yeah,
so I guess that's a really big thing this year was the venue that we were able to secure. So we started out whenever we announced that we were going to do our speaker venue at the Children's Creativity Museum. So for anybody that knows San Francisco or Moscone, that general area, you've kind of got Moscone West on the corner, the intersection of 4th and Howard, yeah. And directly across the intersection is the Children's Creativity Museum. So it is literally a 2-minute walk from Moscone West and WWDC to AltConf. So just a brilliant, fantastic location. We've the speaker venue has a capacity of 165, I think we can fit in there. So we're doubling the amount of space for people to come and watch the speakers. And then we're also doing Alt Labs again this year. Now, we couldn't do it in the exact same venue. However, it is just across the road, so occupying another corner of that intersection at Gillian's Bar. And that, again, has capacity for about 150 people. So we are more than doubling our capacity from last year. I don't think we're going to have any problem in filling it. But it's a fantastic setup because we've got those two corners, Apple's on the other corner. It's really going to make it a huge community event. People can go from one to the other. People can meet up. It's not a hassle for anybody. It's really going to be fantastic. It's going to be a fantastic feeling. There's going to be a lot of exciting things happening just from the very fact that everybody will be at that intersection. Basically, we're taking over that area of town even more than WW normally does.
So you've got WWDC surrounded, basically.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
We've got, there's like evening events happening that are happening around the same area as well. So yeah, we're not so much surrounding it, but we're definitely augmenting it quite significantly.
I'm really so happy to hear this. One of the concerns I had was, because last year you had announced that the University of San Francisco would no longer be available to you.
Yeah.
Not through anything you did, but because of policy changes, that you would have to move somewhere farther away. And that's going to be a problem because people want to go to the main conference, but they also want to pop over to yours and
Yeah.
to enjoy the social aspects and the speakers and everything else. And if you got to jump in a cab or try to get an Uber, that's going to be a challenge. So this really makes it even better that you can go to one, go to the other. If you have tickets, go to both, and get the best of all worlds.
Yeah. I like to tell people that I have a somewhat encyclopedic knowledge of the space availability in downtown San Francisco now, because I have talked to everybody that there is. I have tried to rent out movie theaters. I have tried to rent out classrooms. I've tried to rent out basically anything I can. And so in the run up to when it was being announced, I've kind of been working on the space for about a month before, about a month and a half before, or 2 months even, Apple even announced. And so just finding places was pretty challenging, and making it match up with the right dates as well. And that's one of the big things, is that I actually had booked the Creativity Museum like flat. It was done. It was a done deal for the week after. So from the week of the 9th, that was actually booked. But then Apple changed the date. So there's always this kind of cat and mouse thing of, okay, well, I found a space. Are they available the week that I want? Is that even going to be the week that we need it for? And so on. So they have been really fantastic in all of this as well. I can't say enough about the museum. They've been brilliant. The chap, their events director, is just amazing. The only reason that we have the space for that week, because it was booked out, is because we can share it with a theatre company that's using it in the evening. And he was able to help us negotiate that, or else we just would not be there, and I don't know where we would be, to be honest. So it's it's a challenge, but it's pretty interesting. But now I have a very good handle on where we can be. So next year, I don't think we're going to have these problems anymore, because there's a couple of places that are well within budget, depending on where we go with the event.
So I definitely want to talk about budget in a second, but I also want to go to the facilities themselves. Anybody that's been to San Francisco to any of the Macintosh industry, Apple industry events knows Jillian's. You always end up at Jillian's somehow. What part of Jillian's are you going to occupy, and how is that going to be? Are you locking out the whole place, or are you just taking a section of it, or what?
So we're taking the main bar. So if you've been in Jillian's before, it's the bit that has the 3 screens behind the bar, 3 projector screens. So we're taking that. That's our space. We haven't taken any of the other bits of the space that is quote unquote open to the public. However, to be honest, nobody is going to be in that general area unless they're involved in dub or iPhone and iPad development and things like this. So I would suggest that everybody should just come along and just use it as the other pits as the public space, and that will be all good. But we have the bar. The bar is ours effectively, but everything else is open to the public.
So that's Jillian's. Now, all the times I've been to San Francisco, I've never been to the Children's Discovery Museum because, first of all, I'm not a child. Second, I don't have children. And so I'm not at all, I know where it is, but I'm not at all familiar with this facility. What kind of rooms or conference rooms or areas do you have there?
Mm-hmm. So at the Creativity Museum, we have what's the best way to describe it? It's basically a conference space. It's like tiered seating. It's a theater, basically. So it's got a stage at the front. It's got tiered seating, and so that's what we have. Basically, it's a fairly traditional conference space or theater space, but it's really nice. It's pretty fantastic. It's got a nice big screen to it. It has all the kind of setup that we need to be able to run the conference. And I think it's just a really, really nice venue. I mean, if you go to our website go on the location page on the website, you'll be able to see pictures of what it's like, which is probably a lot better for describing than I can.
So the budget. last year when we first met and you were putting together AltWWDC, you were looking for sponsors. You were trying to do this without charging anybody. And I thought, okay, good luck to you. I mean, that's very San Francisco and that's very developer community, but I'm not sure it's completely realistic. Well, congratulations, you pulled it off. This year, you're kind of trying to do the same thing again and make it bigger and better. And that just fascinates me how you actually accomplish this and get such great venues.
Yeah, it's a complicated mix. There's a lot of negotiating and things like that. But in reality, so first off, we're doing it again this year completely free. Anybody can come along for free for as long as they want to any of the venues and won't get charged. We're not going to bug people for donations. We're not doing any of that. Everything is paid for by sponsors. And the sponsors are fantastic. They have got on board. We've had people come on and say, I want to help out. I want to support this community and what you guys are doing. And I want to do that with money. So just the fact that we have people in the community that will do that is brilliant. And yeah, I mean, it pays for everything. We're all good on that front. And it's just a real testament to the fact that the community exists. And people make money off this ecosystem and want to give back to it because they enjoy it so much.
Before we leave the money part, because we all, you have to talk about that. Are there still? I don't know how you're doing this. Are you doing this by true sponsorships or donations from people? And if so, what kind of sponsorship levels are we talking about?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have a couple of sponsorship levels still open. So you can come and sponsor us for at the silver and bronze levels. And if people want to kind of get into what all that means, they can just drop an email to sponsors at AltConf.com and I'm open to having a chat with them. I want to wrap that up fairly soon. Because I need to get a bunch of stuff printed, so probably mid next week. I don't know when you're planning putting this out, but I'm going to wrap that up. But we do still have some available. And we're also doing something new this year, which is we're going to do like an exhibition space in the labs. So we have the ability to do this now in the labs where companies can come along and rent a table to exhibit products or meet with people or just have a base. So that they can come along to. And that's something that I think is going to grow more and more over the next couple of years as we grow the conference. We're going to turn this into a place to come to get information, a place to come and meet people, a place to come and learn new things. But that also includes people announcing new products and doing exhibition type things. So like Macworld or anything like that. So that's where we're going in that direction anyway. And then I've also, as an experiment, put up like a little donation thing whenever you apply for your quote-unquote ticket, just to see who would be interested in giving us donations. And we've received a fantastic response for that as well. It's a pretty interesting experiment that I think will continue. It's definitely not going to pay for the entire event, but it certainly puts a dent in some things.
I saw that, and I applaud you for that. I think that there's nothing. I know the spirit you're trying to create this in, but I also think that for those who understand the reality of what you're trying to do, it's not unreasonable to say, hey, here's a 5, here's a 10, here's a 20, to help pay for the space that I will be occupying during the conference, and having that resource available to me right there in downtown San Francisco, right across from WWDC. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I mean, it changes that conversation between someone that's attending into someone who is contributing. So they're not just taking from the event, they're giving back to it as well. And there's tons of ways that you can do that. But sometimes for people, the simplest way is to throw $20 or $30 into a hat, and that makes people feel like they're participating. It makes them feel good. It certainly helps us, so it's win-win for everybody.
This edition of MacVoices is brought to you by SaneBox. the best way to take control of your out-of-control email. For a free trial and $10 credit, visit sanebox.com/MacVoices. I've been telling you about SaneBox now for some time, but there are some things that I may not have made clear, so let's review to be sure. First, once you install SaneBox, you're done. There's no learning curve. SaneBox does all the work out of the box. The SaneBox. The only thing you need to know how to do is switch mailboxes or folders or whatever metaphor your favorite email client uses. That's all. Second, well, I just said it. You can use your existing email client, Apple's Mail, Gmail, or any other email client. Your choice. Third, SaneBox works just fine with your iPhone and iPad. Again, no learning curve, use whatever mail app you like. SaneBox is working in the background for you with no effort on your part. Fourth, you can use as much of SaneBox's power as you wish, or as much as you can handle. If you prefer to split your email in two, SaneBox can do it with your inbox and the Sane Later folder. Or you can parse it out even further with the Sane News, Sane Bulk, Sane Not Spam, and Sane Archive folders. It's up to you as to how many ways you want to use SaneBox to control your email for you. Fifth, with a quick trip to the SaneBox dashboard, you can turn on even more SaneBox power, like the Sane Black Hole, the Sane Tomorrow folder, and Sane Next Week folder. And that's all you have to do. Flip any of those switches and start getting rid of emails forever, or snooze them for a day or a week. Simple. The average person spends 13 hours every week reading and responding to email. And we all know that MacVoices viewers and listeners are above average, so your numbers are probably higher than that. Probably much higher. SaneBox saves you time by making sure that you are looking at the important emails first, the less important emails second, and the unimportant emails not at all. That's the SaneBox advantage. It works for me, and it will work for you too. Right now, take a second to go to sanebox.com/MacVoices and sign up for their 14-day free trial. Turn SaneBox on, and over the next 2 weeks, find out just how nice it is to deal with only the important stuff in your inbox. Then, 14 days from now, when you decide to sign up, you'll get a $10 credit on any SaneBox plan. And you will want to sign up. I predict it won't take you 14 days. It might take you until next week, Thursday at the latest, to determine that you don't want to go back to the way you used to deal with email. That's sanebox.com/MacVoices for your 14-day free trial and $10 credit on any SaneBox plan. Do it now and let me know how long it took you to make your decision. I'll put it on diary for Thursday. SaneBox, the best way to take control of your out-of-control email. Thanks to SaneBox for sponsoring this edition of MacVoices. So, Rob, let's walk through AltConf. We're talking about labs, we're talking about the conference. So let's start with the Children's Museum. What kind of events are going to be there and who's going to be participating?
Yeah, so the Children's Museum is just the speakers. So that's our speaker venue. So like we did last year, we're kicking that off with our keynote breakfast. So everybody can come along. We're going to put the keynote, which is going to be live streamed. The first time it was live streamed was last year. We didn't even know that was happening. We were literally just going to put blogs up, and then that suddenly happened. So we were suddenly watching it in real time. So we're going to live stream that again this year. We didn't have any technical hitches last year. Hopefully we won't this year. So that's going to be happening. We're going to open the doors about 9:30. To get people in. Might open them a little bit earlier than that, actually, probably about 9. But we put on donuts. We put Sauce Labs are providing burritos for people, plus little bottles of sauce, which is pretty cool. So everybody can come, they can get some breakfast, get some coffee, things like that. So that's the kind of kickoff to everything, and that also happens in the labs as well. So with both venues, we can fill those. Then that takes us up to lunch. Then we've got our traditional keynote panel discussion, and then we just kind of move into our regularly scheduled talks to kick off. I'm not going to go through the entire week, but to kick off Monday, we've got Saul Mora, who's a fantastic speaker, Brent Simmons, and Dave Riskus, someone else that we have to announce at the end of that day. And then let me talk about some of the kind of some of the names that we've got signed up. So Mike Lee is going to be talking. Andrew Stone, and his talk went down fantastically last year. Everybody loved it. So Andrew's back, and really excited for his talk. Who else have we got? So we've got our normal panel discussion. So we've got a games panel. We've got a what else have we got? I can't even see them. I'm trying to scroll through this. We've got ethics and software panel to go through. I think we have a marketing one as well. We've got Aaron Hillerglass, Mikey Ward, both from Big Nerd Ranch. We've got Jean McDonald from AltConf for Girls talking about marketing. She was talking last year at the conference, and that was fantastic. Carla White is talking. Very excited about that, as well as Michelle Titolo, who you might know from CocoaPods and Women Who Code. And she's going to be talking about the Xcode project file, so I'm excited about that. Michael Lopp, so Rads in the Pose, is talking as well. And then we've got Josh Michaels, who always gives a fantastic talk. Who else? Let's see. Yeah, so that kind of takes us to the end of the week, and we're kind of closing everything out with something I am hugely fantastically excited about. James Dempsey is going to do our final closing talk, and he's going to do a kind of retrospective of Apple, I think. I haven't seen the bio for it or the information for it just yet, but it's going to be a pretty fantastic talk.
That's quite a lineup.
Yeah, and that's just me scrolling through things and picking out names as I happen to see them. But there are a fantastic amount of brilliant people that I haven't even mentioned there. So what I would encourage everybody to do is go to altconf.com/speakers and have a look at it, because it's really it's a brilliant lineup, and I can't even pay it justice.
That lineup is worth coming to San Francisco to see, even if you don't have a WWDC ticket.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So pardon me, that's the conference space, and that's at the Children's Discovery Museum. Now let's switch over to the labs at Jillian's. What exactly are the labs, and what is going to be going on there?
Okay, so the labs, we had labs last year, and last year we were kind of very restricted in the amount of resources that we had, the amount of time that we had to put things on. And so the labs were basically a co-working space for people to come along and get some free Wi-Fi, have a place to meet people. And we also got some really fantastic people to come along and do kind of mini Q&A sessions and help people out and stuff like that. But it was a little bit small. And so this year what we've done is we've got, one of the people that are supporting us fantastically is a company called Raise Labs out of Boston and San Francisco. And they're some good friends of mine, and they have been helping us in countless different ways. And one of the ways is that Justin and Chris from Raise Labs are running the labs this year, which means that we have effectively a back-to-back schedule the entire week of labs, where people can come along and get help, get advice on just a huge amount of different topics. So to kind of talk through some of those things, we've got the keynote stream, obviously on the Monday morning. A bunch of guys from RayWenderlech.com who do all the tutorials and articles and stuff like that. Those guys are bringing 8 subject matter experts to the labs on Monday afternoon, where they're going to basically answer people's questions. You can sit down with anybody. If you want to know about iBeacons or auto layout or whatever, then you can come along and these guys will be able to help you out. We've got an accessibility lab with Justin, Charles Perry from last year, and Aaron Brager are running that. Crash reporting lab, the guys from Hockey App are helping out with that. What else? So we've got a journalist pitch lab where we have a bunch of journalists from the industry are going to come along and basically sit down and give people a little bit of advice on how to pitch or how to talk to journalists, how to get noticed. So we've got Mark Gurman from 9 to 5, Arnold Kim from Mac Rumors, Peter Cohen from iMore, Nicole Martinelli from Cult Mac, and Victor Aguida from Tual. So all those guys are coming. We've got CocoaPods Lab on Thursday morning, where basically core committers from CocoaPods are going to come along, and you can ask them questions, you can talk to them, you can get some bug fixed, you can just basically meet them. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We have a Jailbreaking Lab on Friday morning. So Jay Freeman, who is obviously the creator of Cydia, Sarek, and a bunch of those guys are going to be there. They're going to have an open house type of thing where you can come along, ask them questions, stuff like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. There's a bunch of other stuff going on in there. So we've got DevMate, who are one of the lab sponsors, and are doing a special DevMate session. So if you want to sell your Mac app, then they have some fantastic tools and integrations to be able to do that. And they do analytics and distribution, all kinds of things. So they're going to be there as well. So yeah, it's going to be pretty fantastic.
Rob, where's the exhibition space? Is that also at Jillian's? I want to be real clear on that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's at Jillian's. Okay. So it's just in the main space of the labs. So it'll just be in there.
Okay, and this still should be considered a co-working area as well as having these presentations there.
Yeah, so I think the point of it is that they're not necessarily presentations, that they are a bunch of people who are there to answer questions and help out. The format of each one may be different, but the general gist of it is that they are there to answer questions. They may do quick Q&A sessions. They may do a little 5-minute presentation beforehand. That's up to people that are organising the labs. But it's basically you can come along and you can still sit and work, and you don't have to talk to people or what have you. You can just come along and use it as a co-working space, or you can get the help that you want. As long as you don't mind, someone giving a presentation for 5 or 10 minutes, then you'll be fine.
Great. And I also wanted to be clear on this too, because I think you said it. Is the keynote going to be shown in both places or just at the Children's Museum?
In both places, although we don't have any food going on at the labs because we can't put that on. But Jillian's are doing food at the lab. Well, they do food anyway, so you can just buy food there.
Okay, yeah, that's a nice touch. You'll be able to get food pretty much any time of the day as it suits you. So. Mm-hmm. This edition of Mac Voices is sponsored by Take Control Books, the answers you need now from leading experts. Joe Kissel helps you examine and secure your confidential information in his book, Take Control of Your Online Privacy. You may not be of interest to the intelligence agencies, but how about marketing firms who want to sell you their products, whether you're interested in them or not? And there are always the bad guys out there who are interested in everyone. Online privacy goes way beyond just improving your passwords. Joe shows you how to manage your internet connection, protect yourself while web surfing, secure your email, share files securely, and more. Security expert Rich Mogul, the CEO of Securosis, says that Take Control of Your Online Privacy is the first comprehensive and practical guide to protecting your privacy in the digital age. Joe helps you make and implement the right privacy choices for your life. Joe will be touching on this subject by participating in Josh Center's NSA panel at Macworld iWorld 2014, and you can hear an extended discussion with him about the book on MacVoices number 13176. Don't just sit there. Protect yourself. Take control of your online privacy at takecontrolbooks.com and start protecting your online privacy today. Take Control Books, the answers you need now from leading experts. Thanks to Take Control Books for their support of Mac Voices. I got to tell you, one of the experiences that I had last year at AltWWDC that I really didn't expect was watching the keynote. And of course, like you say, you sort of got noticed late that it was going to be streamed. But it's really exciting to be in a room full of developers and hear the visceral reactions they have to whatever is being presented. There were cheers, there were a few sighs occasionally, but it was really interesting. I think it added to the experience, and it made you feel like you were really in the main hall with all the people who had paid for the ticket. Yeah. So don't discount that as, I'll watch it in my hotel room and then go over. You really need to get out, come over, and get the full community feel of it.
Yeah, so that's something that I really like about the keynote breakfast, and that's why I like putting it on. It's because, yes, you can go to WWDC, and there's definitely a lot of excitement standing in the line from 3 in the morning. You get to meet a lot of people and do all of that. But if you don't happen to have a ticket, there's no reason for you to just sit in your hotel room. You can still get that kind of atmosphere if you come down to Alt. And the nice thing about it is that if you sit in the main keynote hall, you clap whenever everybody else claps and all that, but you don't really have that kind of discussion with the person next to you of, oh, that's awesome, or, well, we need to do something with that, or, the shouting and the cheering and things that you get at Alt, because that's what makes it such a fantastic atmosphere. Everybody just gets very, very excited. There's a lot of discussion. There's a lot of shouting. And it just makes it a lot of fun to be there. And it's just, it's one of the best parts of the week for me. And it's just fantastic that it kicks it off as well. It's definitely different from going to the normal keynote, but I think it's pretty unique in its own way.
The labs were also interesting to me. I'm not a developer, so I could only kind of sit in or overhear certain conversations, but it was unusual to see people who theoretically could be competing, helping solve each other's problems. And that's what makes, I think, the developer community special, is that there's competition, there's friendly competition. It's not like I have to grind you into the sand. It's, okay, I have this knowledge, and sure, I'll help you out, and maybe you'll help me out, or maybe it'll be 3 years before you can help me out. But nobody's keeping score. Everybody's just helping.
Yeah, and that's a really, really good thing about the whole community, is that I think that it's still fairly small. It's still, a lot of people know each other, and so you help someone out now, a year or two down the line, maybe you'll be working together at a different company, or whatever that was to be, or maybe your companies will work together, stuff like that. It's about building those connections in a very non-threatening, what's the word that I'm looking for? Competitive way. I think they're competitive, but also they're not competitive, because it's all just about the technology. It's all about what they're going to do with it and the exciting things that they can do with it. So, it makes it a pretty special atmosphere. But I think that comes from the people that come to the event. All we do is we put the thing on, and everything else just comes together because people come to it, because of the attitude that they come with. That's why it's such a fantastic event. Really, all we're doing is putting some pieces in place so that people can turn up. But after that, it all just happens from the people that are there.
That's all you're doing, Rob, is putting on the conference. Yeah,
that's all we're doing. Yeah,
nothing to it. Yeah.
Just we just put it on, and then people do things.
And I also think it's important to note, as we did last year, you're doing this not from San Francisco, not even from within the U.S. You're coordinating this whole thing from London, which I think is fantastic. That it also means that the developer community is a global thing, and this just proves it. Yeah. So there's me in London. We've got this kind of vast network now of volunteers and coordinators, because it's that big now that the 1, 2, or 3 people can put it on their own. So we've got 2 people that are running the speaker and panel sessions. That's Daniel in London and John Wilker from 360 Conferences in Denver. So it's already kind of a nice global reach there. We've got the guys from Raise Labs who are helping out with the labs. Those guys are based in San Francisco, and also the parent company is in Boston, and the parent company has been helping out with us as well. We've got Kendall, who's dealing with all the volunteers, and he is based in Denver. We've got a big bunch of volunteers from all over the place. So we've got
We've got a dedicated AV team now as well, and they're kind of spread between San Francisco and Australia and Europe and just like all over the place. So we've got people from everywhere. We've got Judy and Mike who are helping out. They're based in Amsterdam, obviously. We've got people helping us from Canada for some stuff that I'm not announcing yet, but will be coming out fairly soon. So it's a huge amount of people from all across the world. But that's the nice thing about, I guess, the time that we live in, is that you can do that. You can kind of do things from afar, just via the phone and via email, and it all just works out. It's brilliant.
And I got to tell you, it's so refreshing because so many of us work in environments that somebody says they're going to do something and it never gets done. And this is an environment where you're reaching out across the globe, you're asking people to do something, and they get it done. And it works. And AltConf is a glowing example of just that kind of attitude. And I applaud you, and I applaud all the volunteers. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I have no small amount of history with this kind of remote team stuff. What I do at work is all of our team are remote, so it's something that I'm used to. But I'm also a massive advocate for it. Just, you know, in work and whatever you happen to be doing, you can be location independent, I think, in a lot of different roles these days, and that just opens up a huge amount of opportunities for everybody. And it's something that I really like talking about and really like advocating for, because it just makes people's lives better, just being able to work remotely.
Well, I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to it, to coming back again to San Francisco, to being at the, especially in the way I plan to set up find a little corner and set up and talk to some of the exhibitors there, definitely some of the developers. So if you're going to be at AltConf or WWDC and are coming over to AltConf and would like to be interviewed about your app and about the events there, and if you have a great lemon meringue pie recipe, I don't care. Call me or email me, I should say, at chuck@macvoices.com, or seek me out when you're there, because I don't bite. I always have a great time talking to people. The whole idea is to promote what you do and the community and continue to advance that community. Rob, have we missed anything? It seems like I'm talking about the things I know about, and I know you have something you're not ready to announce yet. Anything, though, that we missed?
The only thing that I can think of right now is that CocoaPods are doing a CocoaPods Alt State of the Union. So this is kind of a nice way for us to start expanding the community events out into other things that other people are putting on. And so they're putting that on. That's happening at the... I can't remember the address that it's happening at, but if you go to CocoaPod's blog, then you can see what's happening with that. Sign up to come along to it. It's basically a bunch of the core team are going to do some talks on Monday evening. So that's happening. There is a special event for at Camp for Girls that Jean McDonald runs, I mentioned earlier. They're doing a fundraising event on Wednesday evening, and it's $25 donation or however much you want. I would encourage people to go to that as well. That's going to be fantastic. Yeah, so I briefly mentioned that we've got this fantastic AV team now. We're dedicated to providing a fantastic AV experience, what's on the screen and all that. And those guys are going to be hopefully live streaming all of the talks that we have, as well as getting those out on YouTube for everybody to watch. Hopefully as soon as possible. We'll see how quickly we can get that done. But that's our plan. If anybody knows anybody with a camera or two that we can borrow, then we're more than happy to take that from them. But we're pretty excited about that. It means that anybody that can't make it to San Francisco can still watch the talks, and anybody that can't watch them live can still watch them whenever they want. So I guess it's recreating the dub experience as much as possible. keep Tuesday evening free. But that's all I'm going to say.
Got it. The website, I want to make sure I got it right this year. AltConf.com?
AltConf.com. If you go to the old one, you'll just get the new one anyway. So it's all the same. But yeah, AltConf.com. And then there's contact information on there if you want to get in touch with anybody, you want to help out, you want to volunteer. I don't think I mentioned we've got kind of this massive kind of group of volunteers that are helping out. And these are the kind of the unsung heroes of it to a certain extent, because they are the guys that help people get in the door, make sure that we're not over capacity, make sure that if anything goes wrong, they're there to deal with it. These guys are really the guys that run it day to day whenever the conference happens. Everything else we set up beforehand, but these guys make sure that everything runs smoothly, everyone has a good time, and everyone gets exactly what they need. So if anybody's interested in volunteering, just pop on the website, contact information's on there. It's just volunteers at altconf.com, and we can sign you up for a day of counting people or cleaning up after people or whatever it happens to be. We've got like a wide range of things that we need to have done. We've already got a massive list, but we can always use more.
Great. Well, again, altconf.com, folks. Go and check it out if you are going to be in San Francisco, either for WWDC or if you just happen to be there. This will be an event that is well worth it. Rob, it's great to see you. I will see you in San Francisco.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's only 2 weeks away,
Oh, don't tell me that. I got too much to do between now and then.
I know.
And I'm not even organizing it. Thanks again. We'll see you.
Thank you very much.
Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is MacVoices. I hope you will come to AltConf in San Francisco. And if you do, seek me out. I'd love to talk to you. Until the next time, and as always, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for links, show notes, to subscribe, to connect with Chuck on Twitter, app.net, Google+, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter, the MacVoices Dispatch, to stay up to date with all the latest MacVoices news from our front page or at macvoices.com/newsletter. Advertising and sponsorships handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com.